Yes, sir. I got you.
All right, we'll start with Jimmy Himes. Hey, Jimmy, you there? I guess unmute your line.
We good now? I hope it's unmuted.
You're good. You're good.
All right. Okay. All right. Jarrett, do you think that having the same offensive coordinator and quarterback coach 2 years in a row will help with your consistency? That's one. And what are your thoughts on this group of freshman receivers?
Yeah, to answer the first one, I'm lucky and I'm thankful that I have the opportunity to be with my same coaches for year 2, and I'm looking forward to the progress that I'm able to make. I mean, it's been an easygoing off season. I've been working pretty hard on just trying to maintain the offense, getting better with it, but it's definitely going to be a lot better just being able to have those guys in the same terminology for another year. And the freshman receivers, they're all very talented guys, and I'm excited to get to work with them. They're all very hardworking, and they're in a complex 24/7, whether that's in the weight room or they're up top just getting their knowledge right. So I'm excited for them, and I expect them to make a big impact this coming season.
We'll go to Brent Hubbs, followed by David Ubben.
Jarrett, I'm curious as to the decision you made to add the weight that you did. Was that by design? Was that just part of the unusual spring that you guys went through? And you mentioned how nice it is to have, everybody for a second year. When did you notice, or has there been a moment where you went, wow, this is really cool to have the same voice? Has there been a practice, a workout, a meeting, or anything like that?
Yeah, so going into the offseason, me and Coach Winkie decided some things that I wanted to work on and some things that I wanted to progress. And one of those things was to put on weight and to get my speed back a little bit. So throughout the whole offseason, it was kind of weird doing it, but I had my mom on my weight gain program, and she helped me out a lot with that. So she did a good job of some good. I was doing a lot of speed, just trying to keep that good weight on. And it was probably around, I would say, March, when I realized that there was not much for me to do. I mean, every single March that I've been here, or even springtime, I've always been rushing, trying to get new knowledge from the new offense. So it was probably around March where I said, wow, I don't really have much to do right now. So I guess I'll just go keep looking back on the film and just keep trying to study what we already went over.
Jarrett, how would you describe this offseason? And for you, how does your understanding of this offense right now compare to where you were a year ago?
The off season, probably very weird. I mean, nobody's ever been associated with something like this in their lifetime. So just being a part of it, I mean, it's not really much to say just because it was so weird. I kind of had to find some self-motivation throughout the whole off season to get the job done and try to get better at my craft. But that was really about it from the off season. And what was the second question? I'm sorry.
Just basically where your understanding and sort of comfort level in this offense is right now compared to where it was a year ago.
I think it's significant, honestly. I feel way more comfortable on the field. It feels like I'm not overthinking many things. I'm able just to read coverages and go through my progressions without having to have my whole thought process change throughout the whole thing. So it's definitely more easygoing, and it's way easier on my mind and my body going through some things.
We'll go to Rick Russo, followed by Luis Fernandez.
Hey, JG, hope you're doing well, man.
Yes, sir. Hey, Rick, how are you?
Good. So with Coach Pruitt and the assistants that we've talked to, they've all talked and have been impressed by your work and your drive to be more consistent. Number one, talk about how important that is for you going into this season. And also talk about the run game and that veteran offensive line and how that can help your game as well this year.
Yeah, well, going into January or February, we wrote down a couple of key things, and it was be consistent and lead. And I think those were two things that I need to work on and get better at. And that's been my focus every single day, just going into every day is talking about stacking chips with Coach Winkie and just being able to grow every single day and in the sense of getting better either mentally, physically, or just becoming a better football player. And the running game, I'm very impressed with right now. I think it's coming along. Eric Gray, Ty Chandler have been doing a real good job. And we have a few freshman running backs that are actually performing pretty well. Being able to have a whole offensive line come back and being able to have some key staples in there, it's looking very good, and I'm very excited for it to continue.
Lewis?
Jarrett, one thing that Coach Wenke mentioned is your processing is faster. He feels like you're making decisions on the practice field at a much faster clip. What does that actually look and feel like for you behind center?
Feels way more comfortable. I feel like my mind's not going 100,000 different places. So, I mean, I have a pre-snap read, post-snap read, and being able to really, truly understand the offense ins and outs, it allows me to move faster. It allows me to see things come open way quicker and deliver the ball more on time and accurately.
We'll go to Blake Topmeyer, followed by Patrick Brown.
Hey, Jarrett, given the adversity and at times the criticism you faced in your career, can you explain why you're still at Tennessee?
I'm looking at a big thing on the wall that says, "This is Rocky Top." And I was talking to Bill before, and those words and just this place means so much to me. And I was thinking about my journey here, and there's no place that I would rather be, honestly. And of course, there's been ups and downs, and in life, you experience many ups and downs. So it was nothing for me, and there were some things I had to grow and learn from. And I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't undo any of this, honestly. I would just honestly just tell myself some things about the process, but not trying to rush it. But there's no place that I would rather be, and I'm lucky to be a Tennessee Vol, and I wouldn't change that for the world.
If I can follow up, you said there's some. If you knew what you know now, you'd tell yourself some things up front. What are some of those things that you would tell yourself? If you could do that.
The process. Everything's not going to be easy in life. There are some things that happened throughout my life that kind of just felt like it was natural and it was easy, and I just was getting by. And when I went to college, there were some things that I had to overcome. There were some things that I had to learn for myself, and those things allowed me to work harder and become more mature as a person. And those are some invaluable lessons that I learned, and I'm thankful that I actually got the chance to learn them.
Hey, Jarrett, you talked about needing to sort of self-motivate back in March, I guess, when you guys were kind of separated. When you guys did get back to campus, what was the sense of urgency like? You had a handful of new receivers. You had to work on the chemistry with them. How did you kind of balance having a sense of urgency by not rushing it too much and making sure you guys could start building a rapport and get your timing down and all that?
Yeah, well, when we came back to the campus, there was a lot of indecisiveness whether we were having a season or not. But honestly, it didn't affect the team that much. I mean, we were in here all hours of the day getting some extra work in, no matter if you were a senior, junior, freshman, or sophomore. So being able to have a team that's like that and always wants to get work in and perfect their craft made things a lot easier. And we knew that the time was clicking, and we had a lot of new guys coming in that needed to contribute. So there was a lot of extra hours that we had to perform in, and I'm happy with our guys' work ethic up to this point, but there's still a lot of work to do until South Carolina comes.
You feel like you have a good grasp on the tendencies and the little details with some of these new guys in terms of how they break out of routes, how fast they are, all those kind of things when you're throwing them the ball?
Yeah, all these guys are very different in their own special ways, and I'm excited to continue to work with them, and they all have different things to their game that they're going to help contribute to this offense.
All right, we'll go to Trey Wallace, followed by Ryan Shumpert of the Daily Beacon.
Jarrett, two questions. How has Chip Long, have you been able to pick his mind, Coach Long, about what he did at Notre Dame, maybe things he could help you out with your game alongside Wenke and others? And second question, when you work with your quarterback coaches over the summer, what were a couple of main goals when you were working with Tony and Quincy to get better for the upcoming season?
Yeah, so Coach Chip Long, he's been a great asset for me this offseason, just being able to give me a different set of eyes and tell me what he sees. And he actually had a lot of success at Notre Dame, and he's been around Ian Book and Brandon Wimbush for quite some time, and those guys were very good quarterbacks at their respective schools. So being able to have another set of eyes actually has helped me significantly. And even as the day goes on, I'm with him for a couple hours a day, just being able to talk to him about ball. So that definitely helps. And the second question was, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay, man. Just talking about you were working in the off season with Tony, and then you were also working with Quincy. What was that like, and what were kind of the goals that you guys kind of set forth to get you prepared to come back to campus?
Yeah, we wanted to work more on quicker feet, just pocket movement, pocket awareness, and just being able to get inside and outside the pocket. And I think we did a lot of good things throughout our training sessions, and I'm excited to get to work.
Hey, Jared, I know T. Martin kind of headed up a leadership committee this offseason. Are you a part of that? And if so, what does that kind of look like on a weekly basis? And are there any experiences you've taken from it?
Oh, the culture. Yes, the culture committee. I believe that we meet around a week or every week or so, but it's been pretty good. And as you can see, we're making a change around the University of Tennessee, and that's a tribute to the actual university and the people that are part of this university that are allowing us to help make a change in the world.
All right, we'll go to Wes Rucker, followed by David Pascal.
Hey, Jarrett, I'm wondering during I guess during the height of the whole COVID-19 thing, you being from sort of the New York area and you go back home, how much concern was there at the time? I mean, I know that there was a hot spot right around that area and there were lots of people in the hospital. How much of a concern was that stuff for you on a daily basis? And how many people did you know that were impacted by it?
Yeah, it was definitely very scary. I have so much family and friends there, and I was there for probably a couple of weeks, 3-4 weeks of the time. And it was definitely crazy up there. I mean, just being in the sense of everybody was trying just to stay calm, and you go to the stores, there was nothing in the stores. Everybody's just trying to run rapid, trying to make sure they're staying safe, make sure they have goods. But it was definitely crazy times, and I'm happy that none of my family or friends were able to get it, and I'm sorry for the ones that did get it. So there's nothing really that we can do about it now looking back, but I'm praying for everybody and their safety in the future.
Jarrett, when you go back and look at that time, I'm sure you had time to reflect on last season. When you go back to what you persevered through, what was kind of your lowest moment of last year, and what kind of served as that light at the end of the tunnel that guided you through to where you were able to finish the year the way you want?
Just thinking about last year, I mean, we talk about the spring and how much time I had a chance to reflect on it. And there were a lot of things that I wasn't very happy with myself about, whether that was my playing time or not playing time, whether it was not my performance or whether it was my leadership throughout the season. But there was a lot of things that I learned from, and I hopefully progressing from. But I'm not too worried about last season as much. I'm happy that it happened. It helped me work harder this offseason, and I use that as motivation. But more so, I'm just looking at going forward and being the best possible player I could be this coming season.
Wes?
I'm good. I already asked mine.
Let's go to Eric Kane.
Hey, Jared, how would you characterize the offensive line play and how that group is kind of competing and battling at certain positions coming together during this fall camp?
Yeah, I'm very proud of the offensive line up to this day. I mean, they've been working very hard as a group, and being able to see them understand the terminology another year has actually helped. And we're another year older up front, and I think we have a lot of talent up there. It's just coming along with work ethic and being able to get on the same page as everybody else.
We'll go to Austin Price and then back to Blake.
Jarrett, how much, have you had to adjust your game? I mean, you didn't have a spring practice. So, like, when you go back and you're at home in Georgia with your family, we all saw the workout videos and stuff of doing that type of thing, but just having to be self-motivated. And how much do you feel like that being an older player allows you to know how to work? Because some of these young kids maybe don't understand it as much as an older player would.
Yeah, going back to the spring, like I said, I was motivated as ever, and I didn't have the season that I wanted to have last year. And going into this one, I know that I want to have a big year, so it wasn't very hard for me to wake up every morning and ready to work. So I knew that there was a lot of things I wanted to work on, whether that was foot quickness, whether that was accuracy, whether that was ball placement on all my throws. So being able to have a focus every single day and say I'm going to get better at this certain thing every day, it wasn't too hard for me. But this is something that I've learned over time, and probably when I was younger, I wouldn't have been this way. It kind of takes a sense of maturity and a sense of getting older and being through some things that have brought me to this point.
Blake?
Hey, Jarrett, you've talked with us about the benefits of being in the same system 2 years in a row. Can you give us a couple examples maybe of some things that being in a system in year two you're able to do, whereas, a quarterback in year one of the system might not be able to do?
Yeah, well, just my game is just a lot less indecisiveness. There's the pre-snap read, post-snap read. There's the communication aspect. There's being able to talk guys through some things. It's a complete different sense of feel out there with me. I feel like right now, just in the sense of myself, I feel like I'm more comfortable. I feel like a lot of the guys see that I'm more comfortable and confident in my abilities and the way that I can mentally inject my way into the game. So, I mean, I've always felt like I was a smart football player, but being able to have year two under the same offense, it allows me to kind of show it a little bit.
Last two questions. We'll go back to Jimmy and then close with David.
Jared, do you like the idea of playing an SEC conference games only, just SEC games? You like that idea?
Yeah, I'm a competitor. I think even with my team, I think that we're all very excited for this season, and we're excited for the challenge. And we know that this is the toughest conference in all of college football, regardless. So the fact that everybody has the same sort of, I wouldn't say everybody, but type of schedule strength. But we're excited, and we can't wait for the season.
What's the conversation around the guys like with regards to Cade and his situation? What's kind of been the message to him from you guys?
We're all very upset right now that the fact that he hasn't been granted yet, but we're all pushing forward, and we're really trying to allow the the NCAA to understand how much we truly love him and we need him as a team. And we're going to keep trying to push forward, trying to get him to play this year because he's a big asset and he's actually a very good teammate to us. And we've enjoyed our time with him so far up to this point.
Thanks, JG. We appreciate it.